Good evening, good evening. Thank you all for joining us today. All right, this evening is the Ways and Means Committee meeting. Notice of agenda, Tuesday, April 14th, 2026, 5:30 p.m. was the start time. Today we have three ordinances to cover. CPL 2026-13, an ordinance revising 2026 Casino Operating Fund 2235 budget to appropriate funds for summer youth lifeguards sponsored by Mayor Eddie D. Melton, M. Selita Green, City Controller, now City Controller Beck. Do you have an overview, please? Man, these braces kill me today. Controller Beck. Thank you so much.
Good evening, Council. So, yes, the first edit that I will need to all of these ordinances, which I'll get corrected, is that everywhere where it says Controller Green will need to be changed to me. So I'll definitely get that updated with the clerk.
Thank you.
So for pending ordinance 2026-13, the the fund, the ordinance 9683 was approved in 2024 for ARPA funding for summer youth programming. And essentially there was a balance that has been rolled forward. So we have about 127,241 that's left over. And this summer we need to hire a total of 19 lifeguards to be at the parks and the beaches. And so that 127,000 is enough to fund about 9 of those lifeguards. And so for the other 10, we're going to supplement that through the casino fund. So if you take a look at the budget, we are proposing the revised budget for the casino fund, and that 129,000 that's in that top section for total personal services, that is the excess that we need to fund those additional 10 lifeguards. And the rest of the remaining casino budget remains unchanged. And then we also attached a supporting documentation where you can see the exact salary amounts for all of the lifeguards. And I think the best representation of that would be that very last page where it shows you that we can fund 9 lifeguards with the remaining balance that we have. And take note of the fact that that amount does include about $3,000 in overtime, just in case there's a special event and we need to pay our lifeguards a little bit extra, as well as the workers' comp and the FICA. So that's all included. So that comes up to a total, there's also an $11,000 amount allocated for gear that they may need. And so that comes up to a total of 126,571 approximately. And we will be able to use the ARPA funds, remaining ARPA funds for that was already passed in the previous ordinance. And then again, the rest of the 129,606 will come from a supplement from the casino fund. So that's the revised budget for a total of 256,177 and 40 cents.
Colleagues, any questions?
Yes.
Councilwoman Ivy.
Hi. Good evening. Thank you for your efficiency. Starting off well. Speak a little bit slower. Going forward, please. Can you just explain for me the total lifeguards required, where that requirement comes from?
So I would have to defer to the Parks Department.
Good evening, council. Okay. Okay. So the goal is 19 lifeguards, and that's to cover the beach for if we have call-offs or just once again if we have special events and need more hands on board. So that's where the 19 come in at.
Is that all full-time, part-time?
Oh, they're all seasonal. The director is a seasonal position this year, as well as the 2 supervisor lifeguards, and then the additional lifeguards for the beach area.
19. Okay, sounds good. You got a question?
Just one area of feedback. Job well done with the table in the rear. I appreciate the clear conciseness. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else, colleagues? Thank you so much. All right, let's move on to CPO 2026-14, an ordinance approving What's that?
That is me again.
Oh, I just heard.
You said 14, right?
Oh, yeah. Yes, please. Thank
Oh,
you.
okay. Okay, so I'll speak slower for you guys. So, we had an ordinance 9804 that was approved by the council to establish Fund 8501, which is where we are depositing our interest income from all of our investments. And essentially, a budget had not yet been established for that fund. So we are coming before you today to establish a budget for that, which is a total of 700,000. So as you'll see on the details, 500,000 of that is going to be allocated to the Gary Chicago Airport Fund in relation to their match to generate revenue from commercial flights. And we have a remaining 200,000, which we have added to our current charges just for any incidentals or unplanned expenses. And I do have our chief of staff here if you guys wanted to ask him specific questions about that contract with the airport.
Colleagues, any questions? Madam President.
This is for the Gary
Gary-
Chicago International.
So technically, the funds, yeah, so the program in which it should be attached to you is also the resolution that was passed by the Gary Chicago Airport Board. They will be contributing $1 million towards revenue guarantee. The city would then contribute 500,000 for revenue guarantee. In order to attract commercial passenger airlines, typically you have to have some type of revenue guarantee as they come into a new market. This is typical practice. This is us kind of putting our own stake into the game. The airport carried the load of the burr. How a revenue guarantee works, for those who are not familiar, if they come in and we're able to fill up every single seat, they never touch the pennies. That's it. If they do need some because there's vacancies, then they would do that. That goes through a process in which the airport board will review them, look at their records, provide that information as well as to the city. We would then only then dip into that fund as such. It sits in a typically like an escrow account or something to that sort in regards to it. So that would be the only use for that fund, if so. And again, our prayers that every single seat will be taken.
Just one follow-up question. For that rate, so overall be 1.5.
Total of 1.5 to start, and
Yeah.
that's simply to go into enticing them to come to the table.
My question was, what commercial carriers are at that threshold, that 1.5 threshold? that we can
So
expect to
pretty
look at?
much, from what we've been told, again, I'm not familiar, but we've been getting a lot of expertise from the airport and their consultants that's been provided. They've had conversations with pretty much your standard 747.
Okay.
But there are some commercial passenger that are smaller planes as well that seat about 30 to 50. I can't say names, but we're permitted to at least say that. So,
Okay.
yeah, but so it's like a mixture of what they and of course, the goal would be going in with their expertise, so we won't make any commitments that doesn't just make sense. Anything over that threshold, of course, we would come back before this body, but our intentions is to not even go over that threshold.
And then I just have one last question, maybe
Absolutely.
for the controller. In regards to the interest investment fund 8501, what can we expect? Is this do you feel is our average going forward of interest revenue?
Yeah, you know what? That's a really great question. And the 1.8 million that we have on the sources of revenue is an estimate. That is something that we are combing through right now. When I say we, me and my team. And what we're trying to do is make sure we're investing the right amount of the city's money so that we can increase our return. So I will
Yeah.
say that 1.8 is, we really just had a meeting with one of our banks yesterday.
Okay.
And so we have several banks that we have to meet with where we are looking at the most aggressive rates and making sure that we are liquid, you know, to cover all of our expenses. And so that's the best estimate we have. But as we continue to refine our investment strategy, we expect to do really well.
Oh, excellent. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Colleagues, anything else? All right. Thank you so much. Lastly, CPO 2026-15, an ordinance approving the 2026 Gleason Park budget for the City of Gary, the Park Department, sponsored by Mayor Eddie D. Melton, City of Gary, and then also says M. Seleta Green, but Controller Beck, City Controller.
Yes, thank you. So pending ordinance 2026-15, this is a budget where we are establishing funds for the construction of a driving range at Gleason Park. So the approximate cost of the driving range is $173,000. Of that, we have about $23,000 remaining in an existing Gleason fund that has been carried over from previous periods. And we need some supplement to get to that $173,000. So $150,000 is going to come in from our seeded fund, which is our county economic development income tax. Just want to make sure I got it right. And so we will supplement $150,000 from that fund, along with the $23,000 that we already have in the Gleason Park Fund, to be able to fund that project.
Could have started off with this one. Colleagues, any questions? Colleagues, any questions? Driving range, revenue, expenditures? Councilman Williams?
Yes. So once we're looking at, I think the driver's range is gonna be great, because I learned how to play golf when I was in high school. I used to caddy on Gleason's course, so I think that's great. Sorry. I think the driving range would be great. I started playing golf when I was in high school, and I caddied at Gleason. So what's the expected, how much money do you think revenue we can get out of this?
Going to defer to our chief of staff.
So we won't know yet. I mean, it's stepping back into a market that we stepped out of a little while ago. So before it's hard to compare numbers because, of course, during that time frame, we had both a golf course and a range. So this is stepping into it. We did have the opportunity right before this meeting to share. We just got the rendering that is set to be done should this be approved. We shared that with the council. We'll make sure it's attached at the actual next meeting in your minutes, but it's in all of your emails. We're going to first just again, the goal is to start somewhere and start reasonably.
Right.
We thought this was a reasonable start and then go from there. Taking that revenue and putting right back into the investment that's happening out at Gleason with the walk and the lights and the facility, all of those things just adding to that aesthetic. So everything we bring in, the goal is to actually put right back into that facility. So hopefully we can get it back to being A+ type of.
Well, like I said, I'm excited about it. Will we have lights for at night? Because we had a range a long time ago, and we had lights. But it wasn't in Gary. It was actually in Maryville off of Broadway. But we had lights where we could play
At night.
6,
So-
7 o'clock, yeah.
We do have lights around the Gleason Park for walking. We got those done. The lights are not built into this budget for the range. The range will pretty much be dusk till dawn to start. This was just to make sure we can build it out. And those costs are, we have to have the utility truck to pick up the balls. We got to get new baskets, the ability of people to expense balls, and it to pretty much be self-sufficient. All those expenses first. So a lot of that, the cashless dispenser, the range washer, all those utility vehicle, all those are built into that cost. We did not build into lights. It is something that we're talking about again in phases. Even some recommendations that we've heard about adding layers, right? So right now it's a flat surface. If you look at that picture, it's a flat surface, but we would talk about adding layers as we build. It really comes down to let's get the people out excited and using it, and then we can dump that revenue back in. The same thing we're doing with our beach and other parks.
That'd be great.
Madam President?
Maybe when
And
you
we are
come
expecting to
county
open this
council,
year.
you can give
This
us
is not a next season. This is once the council approves, we are trying to open it up this coming season.
Should have asked on third and final. I could have been at this pass. But
This season.
thank you, Chief of Staff.
No
Thank you.
problem. Thank you.
Colleagues, anything else?
big things always happening in the 5th District, you know.
Well, that's your new campaign slogan right there. But all right, on that note, we'll go ahead and adjourn. Thank you so much.